Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Tigers Park, Chicago, for the second of the Chicago Derby doubleheader this weekend. And we have Chicago Tigers taking on Chicago Kingsmen. And the news from the center is that we had a bit of delay because of rain, and you can see on the screen that the patches of sawdust. Uh, that's The groundsman did a great job to get the ground back to shape. There was a bit of water logging around the wicket. It's always good for safety measures that the groundsmen secure the closing places where the bowlers, the batters, and some of the closing fielders operate. It's always good to get the footing secured. Injuries are the last thing that you have on your mind. But that said, the good news is that we're all set for the game. As you can see, the conditions look perfect. So Hassan Mohsin here with the second over, and we had a bit of an audio issue. Apologies for that, but we are back here in action with the audio. And the over started with an emphatic boundary with Mitansh Nityanandam going after Mohsin, the very first ball for a massive six down the wicket, down the ground, in fact, over the long on area. And for a truncated game of 17 overs, the batters would definitely try to gain as much as initiatives as they could uh, in the first few overs, in the first power play overs. And that's exactly what Mitanj did. And it's always handy to put pressure back on the bowler, the very first ball of the over. He's come back well here, Mohsin, the next couple of balls. A couple of dot balls, but he's keeping the action tight here with the batters not giving much room. The first one was a bit of a loosener. The weather looks perfect for cricket at this point. Doesn't even seem like there was rain. Turned away nicely towards square. Couple of runs of just a single there. I beg your pardon for Shiv. It's been it's been a hectic minor league considering that the league got set up towards the end of the cricketing season. So every weekend we're quite busy with the multiple games happening across the United States, and times certain teams had to play a couple of games over weekends. So it's been a pretty busy and hectic schedule. Sometimes not the most ideal, but that's how cricket goes here. Chicago Tigers, after 2 overs, it's 13 without loss. Ghulam Mudassar, continuing with his third over. Shiv Saini and Mitansh Nityanandam have been regular openers for the Tigers across this season's minor league. In fact, Mitansh is the second highest run getter so far for Tigers this season, and that was an emphatic shot by Shiv. He's muscled it towards the mid wicket fence for a four. Wonderful shot. Got up on his feet, waited for the ball to come. It was a short pitch coming at his body, and he had enough time to swivel on his feet and send it packing towards the boundary. Shiv Shani has had scored 106 runs coming into this game so far. He has a handy strike rate of 112. Nothing sensational, but clearly looks like he's someone who definitely comes with a very positive set of mind. His highest score coming into this game has been 38. On the other hand, Mitansh has scored 188 runs so far coming into this game. And that's another attacking shot played straight down the wicket over the mid-off fielder for four. So two boundaries in that over. Tigers moving along. Mitansh has the highest score of 55 this season, so he's made some runs. But then Shani, oh, this time living dangerously, but definitely reaping some profits. Fortune favors the brave, as they say. This was another moving ball that he did misread, but it catches outside edge and goes rollicking past the third man boundary there for four. Three boundaries in that over. They are certainly moving along nicely here, Tigers. Oh, this time covering his stumps. Intention well and truly clear to take it on the leg side. Just a single. Massive over in the scheme of things, this one. 14 runs so far. Ghulam Mudassar has a lot on his head going on. What can he do in this last ball to prevent anything big? Both the batters looking very positive. Oh, this time trying a big one, and it's called a no ball. It's the last thing that Ghulam would have wanted for this over. He's got a wide, he's got three boundaries, and the last thing he would have probably hoped for was to give a free hit to these batters who are looking smoking hot at this point. Yeah, coming down the wicket, and he knew there's nothing to lose out there, Mithansh. One-handed, probably the ball was a little tad slow coming off the wicket, but he had it covered. Just went along with whatever shot he had planned for. Probably planned for a shot down the wicket. Last moment saw the ball being shortened by Mudassar. He's still connected it one-handed. What a remarkable shot! It goes all the way outside the fence for a big six there. And that was an over and a half for the Tigers. 21 runs coming of that over. 34 without loss after three. Bosin continues, and he had started rather expensively in his first over, first ball, going for a big six. Since then, he has pulled things back remarkably. Tigers, their tail is up after that previous over. Colossal over with 21 runs. Oh, Shiv trying to give it a big heave. Couldn't get the right shape onto that shot. Minorly career for Shiv. It's got 263 runs coming into this game overall. Oh, that's up in the air. A couple of feelers coming out below it. It will fall in the no man's land. No damage done. Once again, calculated risk taken there by Shiv Shani. Once again, the fielders are in, so anything that the batters try with full confidence and connected reasonably well, the chances are that they would get away with it with the ball falling into the no man's land and going over the boundary. In this case, it wasn't boundary, but certainly no harm done. A couple of runs outside the leg stump. It got a feather edge, probably huge appeal. It seemed like there was a deflection. Bowler making his disappointment massively clear with a face palm directed at the umpire, and the umpire, well, who? That's touch and go. There seems like when the ball passed the bat, there was a very tiny feather, something. Ball changes trajectory, but the umpire has the best view out there. To make things worse, he even called it wide. So Kind of double whammy for the bowler, but well, we move on. That's outside the off stump. This time it's well connected by Shiv. And absolutely no chance there for the fielder. But this happens often. We have seen once after a rain truncated game, the field is slightly waterlogged and heavy. The outfield becomes a bit sluggish, and I think in this case too, it was a bit of a golf bounce. The ball dropped on the wicket and just dead stopped there and didn't move forward. Just a couple of runs. Yeah, this time Shiv Shani isn't making anything. He wasn't stopping himself or playing his shots, and it turns out it's a great catch taken at the long on area. The fielder had to run in a few steps from the boundary line, dive in front, and take the catch. Let's take a look. Oh, it's a splendid catch. Those are not the easiest ones to take. Every time the fielder has to run in and dive in front to pick those up, they aren't sure going in if they're going to get to the pitch of the ball. And if they miscalculate that, there's always a chance of the ball missing them completely and going for a boundary, and then it ends up looking very, very ordinary. But in this case, the fielder had everything covered, and they picked up a wicket against all odds. So they will take it 39 for one. There's still the delivery to go in the end the fourth over. The Tigers have lost Shani out here. Shiv Shani. He was looking quite attacking, although the big runs have come from both ends. But he did play a few shots last over, so the Kingsmen would be happy to see his back. 39 for one. Nikhil Mudliar is the new man who's in. Faraz Ali was the fielder who took that brilliant catch to create the breakthrough that his team needed so badly here. Nikhil Mudliar looks like a youngster and has his first season. Didn't have Still early days, just as the highest score has been 11 so far and scored about 25 runs this season. But great opportunity. I mean, a game that is the last game of the season. You always want to create some sort of an impression in your own mind more than anyone else. And what an opportunity! What an opportunity. You have 13 overs of your innings left, coming at number three. You certainly want to put your hand up and make things count. And in your own mind, go back with thinking, I belong here. There's so much of fascinating talent cropping up from all over the United States, and it's great to see some of these youngsters doing remarkable things this season. Great opportunity for Nikhil Mudliar. Change in bowling. After that, slightly horrendous over from Ghulam Mudassar, the last one. The Kingsman making a change. Asif Mahmood is the first change here. Nice, tidy action there by Asif. Looks like a line length sort of bowler. Uh, Not a great pace, but sometimes you keep things tight onto the stumps. He's got a good, decent height, so has that advantage, but looks like a bit of a containment kind of bowler. It's difficult to get them off when you're not giving width or even the pace. Once again, wonderfully bowled. Line and length, beautiful. Kept it on the stumps. Mittanch is very clear. He's going to give it everything. He's got a couple of sixes already, so he's off and running. 14 of 8. Oh, that's a rank. Loosner probably got a little distracted by the initial trigger movement of the batter coming across the stumps. Wanted to play it wider and a wide. The team for today for Tigers, Mittanch Nityanandam, Shiv Shani, who's already out. Nikhil Mudliar is batting right now. This time the ball going down the leg side. The umpire took a bit of time and then calling it wide because the batter had moved across the stumps. That changed the frame of reference, but even after that, he felt the ball would have gone down the leg side, and that's always going to be a wide. There are two wides after a couple of good balls to begin the over. This time again, getting his basics right there, bringing it back onto the stumps. Mittanj trying to do his own thing, missing it all over, beaten by the slowish pace of the ball. Chirag Gandhi, the captain for Tigers, Ravindra Prasad, Karthik Gatepalli, Aryan Patel, Vinit Sinha, Yash Patel, Jimit Patel, and Garg Khera. That's the team for Tigers today. That's the end of the fifth over, 44 for 1. So the introduction of spin, and there's a lot of turn already. Sukhjinder Singh coming in. Already there's some turn and bounce. And Nityanandam, he took a long, hard look at the wicket where the ball pitched and he's gone down to do some gardening there because the wicket has gone through some change because of the rains, etc. So, and this is happens to be his home turf. So clearly some surprise. Once again, turn bounce. There's a bit of look of bewilderment there from Nityananda. We just can't believe what he's seeing. It's a bit of unpredictable nature response from the wicket. That's what his expressions say. But a couple of good testing balls there from Sukhchinder to start the proceedings. Oh, this time trying it outside the hedge and a wicket. He wasn't looking all settled, so tried doing something completely out of ordinary, something unnatural there. He was looking totally out of sorts. with that turn and bounce. And even after playing that shot that took its outside edge up top edge and then caught by the wicket keeper, his expression said it all. He said, "Oh, I can't believe it, what this wicket is doing. I mean, this is not supposed to be the way we're supposed to play." Both the openers gone now. With those two bowling changes, the Kingsmen have pulled things back, not just pulling back, but also picking up two valuable wickets. 44 for 2 as the next man, Chirag Gandhi, the skipper, walks in. A lot on his mind, surely, but his openers has done a good job. They've given them a good brisk start. 8 runs per over is always one to be taken by them. But it looks like the spinners are going to have a lot to say on this wicket today. It looks like a very responsive track, and the Tigers, especially Mitansh's reaction, showed that there's something to be worried about. In fact, Sukhjinder yesterday in the same tracks had bowled tight 4 overs, just picked up 1 wicket, gave 12 runs. In fact, gave 19 runs, I beg your pardon. And the Tigers had scored 138 only in 20 overs. They had a different set of challenge yesterday. But this wicket has something for the spinner. Clearly, it's evident there. Chirag Gandhi gets off the mark of the very first ball. .125 career strike rate in minor league for Chirag Gandhi, so he scored some good runs, 141, and this is his first season, so he's done well. He's got some confidence under his belt. Plays his cricket rather safely. He's not very fairy kind of a batter. Good thing to have your skipper on the other side for Nikhil Mudliar. These two have to now put their head together. The blasters up top, both Shiv Shani and Mitesh Nityanandam, who had played some big shots, are back in the hut. So it's stitching your confidence back again. And so end of 6 overs, it's 47 for 2 now. And a good start to the first over from Sukhjinder Singh. 1 for 3 if your first over, and if that's anything to give for things to come, it would be interesting to see how the spinners operate here. Asif Mahmood continues, and Gandhi again, he took some initiative there, trying to muscle it out down to the fence. Power play is done, so fielders are spread out. There's going to be a lot of vacant spaces in the closing side of the field for the batters to just place it there, pick up a couple of runs. Boundaries might be a little limited, at least the fours. The ball isn't coming on very nicely for the batters. I mean, we have seen a few mistimed shots here, although some of them have carried for big shots. But there have been very few emphatic, well-timed, fully confident shots from the batters so far. We've seen a bunch of hoiks that have probably hit the inside edge or top edge. There again, a shot tried in the offside, takes the outside edge, probably goes not in the direction that it was intended, but two very valuable runs there for Chirag Gandhi. In many ways, this is a kind of game where both the teams are probably trying out some bench strength because it's inconsequential from the points table point of view. Kingsmen are well and truly on top and qualified for the next round. They're probably resting a couple of their key bowlers. We saw yesterday it was Ziaul Haq who took 2 wickets for 20, opening the bowling, and he's been in a lot of wickets, but he isn't playing today. That would be wide and awkwardly hitting the gloves for the wicket keeper. Looks to be in some sort of momentary pain. Wide. Similarly, we're not seeing Hamad Ajam, who picked up a couple of wickets yesterday. So clearly, the Kingsmen resting some of their frontline bowlers, wicket taking options, and giving opportunity to some of the others on the bench to come and have a say. And Asif Mahmood is one of them. Good opportunity for some of the bowlers who haven't had much of a say or play to come in some game time, get some important game time, especially for Kingsmen who are going to have tougher, stiffer opposition in the knockout in the Super 8 stages after this. Ooh, that had a lot of width written on it. Probably a missed opportunity for Mudliar. End of 7, it's 53 for 2. Reminding the viewers, it's just a 17 over game, and whenever those kind of truncated games are there, we do see some urgency and at times unwanted risks taken by the batting team or the team batting first. And in this case, we did see some high risk shots by the two openers. They did come off. They had a couple of very high scoring overs, but eventually lost their wickets. And now the middle order trying to put some purpose behind where their destination would eventually be in terms of projected score. The present run rate it's about 129. The run rate is about 7.4. In fact, it's going to be slightly around that 120, 125. I'm hoping it would probably cross that 130 to be at a par score level. The same venue yesterday against the same opposition, Tigers managed 138 and they were batting second and they were chasing 158 of the Kingsmen. The Kingsmen had a good outing with their skipper, Ramiz Raja, has been an amazing touch this season, top scoring for his team, scoring a wonderful 41. In that case, Chirag was well in control as the ball had a bit of bounce written on it. He covered it up and it was like a swiveling pull. I won't say it was a full blooded pull. He just sort of guided at the end. There wasn't much pace like it would be from a seaming bowler. It was a spinner, tall spinners, ball, so it had a bit of bounce on it. He just swiveled and scored a valuable boundary, altering his length there. Not much of bounce onto that one single. Oh, that's a beautiful ball and a wicket. Fantastic deceiving delivery there from Sukhjinder. He's picked up his second. As I said in the previous over, there's a lot for the spinner, and Sukhjinder has got the measure of this wicket for sure. He had a couple of unplayable balls against Mithanj Nityanandam in his first over, eventually getting his wicket for a rash shot. In this case, this was a delight for a left-handed bowler, left-handed spinner, orthodox left-arm spinner, and this was a beautifully bowled on the off stump, slightly short of length, pulling the batsman forward into the shot and deceiving, taking the outside edge and a catch in the slips. That would be one for the classic cricket lovers. Typically, we've seen that kind of dismissals in long form games where there's a lot of guile that's demonstrated by the bowlers in the shortest form, T20. We usually don't see that kind of dismissals, but this wicket has got a lot of turn, and the young Nikhil Mudliar could not cash on in his brief stay at the wicket. So 60 for three, Chicago Tigers in a little bit of worry, I would say. They still have about 9 overs after this to go, and they wouldn't want themselves to be running out of too many wickets. So interesting to see what they would do as Jimit Patel walks in to join his skipper Chirag Gandhi, with Sukhjinder Singh is top of his confidence pile at this point. On the verge of finishing his second over, he's picked up 2 for 10. Jimit Patel is making his debut for the Tigers here. No, it's probably his second game, but early days for him. And that's the end of the eighth over, 60 for three. Asif Mahmood to continue. He's had two relatively quiet overs, 10 from two, at a stage where the run rate is around about 7.5 or thereabouts, to bowl at a rate which is much lesser than that is remarkable. There, once again, he's kept his balls, as I said, relatively onto the stumps. Every time he's kept it on the stumps, he's just asked the batsman to go and take initiatives in creating some momentum or angle for shots. So he's doing his basics right, and every time he's tried a little to be a little more adventurous, he's ended up bowling either a wide ball or cutting some runs. But every time he's bowled on the stumps, it is for the batters to get innovative, and they've inevitably missed their shape and an outcome. In this case as well, he couldn't. Chirag was wanting to do something flashy but could not time it. He's trying his best to force the ball, which does not have too much speed because Asif bowls slower cutters into the pitch. Doesn't give too much pace to operate with for the batters. And disappointment writ large on Chirag. He's feeling that he's tried multiple things, probably tried a bit too much to force his way. He's just 13 of 13 so far, hasn't got anything substantially confident from his bat. First runs for Jimmy. Congratulations to the young lad. Always good to have the first runs in a competition like minor league, the leading domestic tournament of cricket tournament for United States cricket. It's been operational for about a few years now, for 4 to 5 years, and it's done remarkably good minor league cricket in bringing together a combined composite view of United States cricketing talent. It's a good place for a lot of promising domestic young talent to hobnob with some of the international talent to come to ply their trade here. End of the ninth over, 63 for 3. Aryan Satish, the next change in the bowling, had a good outing yesterday, 2 for 22 from 3 overs. It was a leg spinner, another fascinating craft in this sport. The wrist spinners, as some would call them. Yeah, and Chirag, he's trying to get very innovative with his batting, trying switch hits, paddle sweeps. He's trying it all out there at this point, but nothing really coming more than a single. This end has a lot to offer for the spinners, and quite rightly, the Kingsmen bringing a couple of their spinners from here. Sukhjinder had a wonderful time, picked up 2 wickets. Now it's Aryan. What a great opportunity for young Jimit Patel to try and make a name for himself here, and potentially make a case for more game time next season. And before going into the overs break, I was talking about the importance of minor league cricket. It's the leading domestic tournament for United States cricket. Has done wonders for throwing up talent all across. Some of them have also gone on to play for the Major League Cricket franchise, which is a big, solid tournament. And Chirag Gandhi, for the first time, connecting something rather from the middle of his bat, rather well, rather confidently, placing it well between the vacant region and picking up a four, first boundary, I guess. But that would make him feel more comfortable and confident there because he's been trying hard to take the initiative and get the scorecard moving. Once again, another innovation there, but this time he has done well. He's connected it wonderfully well, picks up another four. So those two shots would give him give him the kind of approval that he needs for taking charge here. He's been trying everything. He's been trying all his repertoire of innovations. They haven't been coming off till this point, and he's got 2 boundaries now. Aryan Satish not finding his line length here. Every time he's pitched it short, he's gotten hammered. So rather ordinary over from him. 11 runs from that. 10 overs gone at 7.4, 74 for 3. Change of ends for Sukhjinder Singh now. A bit of a cat and mouse game between the bowler and the batter here. Chirag took an early initiative moving outside the stump to make room on the offside, and Sukhjinder held himself back a little, altered the line, single taken. He's got so much going for him, Sukhjinder here. He's got the height, so he has the advantage of changing the length. He also comes from a higher trajectory. For shorter stature batsmen, that could be a problem sometimes, ball going above the eye line. And then, of course, he gives it a nice little tweak. In this case, again, the ball, after pitching, kicked up to the batsman. Jimit Patel was ready on the back foot to play, but the bounce got him absolutely off guard, taking his top edge and ballooned up in the short cover region for an easy catch. Sukhjinder on a roll is his third wicket there again. The ball pitched up, completely foxed Jimit. He was set for probably pushing the ball towards that gully or cover point region. He had it covered, he had the space, but the bounce foxed him completely. So, third wicket for Sukhjinder, 75 for 4, Chicago Tigers. Wheels are coming off, I would say. Not something that they would have wanted here today. Ravindra Prasad comes in to join his skipper. Sukhjinder Singh looks to be in a hurry. His bounce has foxed and created 3 wickets so far. And it's such an awkward length. It's that 3/4 of a length where the batters are hoping it's a full length ball. They are trying to play it like for slightly lower bounce, square of the wicket. Well, once again, it's pitched in that 3/4 good length position, and then it bounces up. Very lucky Persaud not to get an outside edge, and quite rightly, the skipper positioning himself in the slips, Ramesh Raja, and let's see what this gun does again. Watchfully played there, a lot on their mind. And it's the end of the over, 75 for 4. A huge appeal there from the slip fielder, a reverse hit, reverse sweep attempted by. He's played a few of those, Chirag Gandhi. He's been operating to play majorly in the square of the wicket side. Not much of a straight bat or not much of fond of playing the ball in the straighter part of the ground. Although this time the ball trickles in that region, but it was flat batted more than anything else. And he certainly has been trying to create some options for him by playing reverse shots, etc. And every time the spinners are pitched in that little zone of doubt in front of the batter, in that 3/4 zone, good length spot, the ball has done a lot in turn and in bounce. At this point, they're predominantly playing with a lot of doubt in their head, the batters. This time, too, he somehow got it covered, played it towards the mid wicket. It was in the air, no damage done though. And Persaud opens his account, but it's an exciting passage of play here. The batter's not fully in control. Spinners have a lot to say, and there again, Chirag, he's giving his cards away quite early, and wise for the bowler to pull away because there was a lot of distraction. Once again, trying to make room and force his way. No shape whatsoever. Doesn't get the timing right. I would say, in my limited opinion here, that if Chirag can hold himself steady, he may be able to get a little more time and view of the ball to score some runs. In that case, he is spooned it up and it's an easy catch down in the long off area. So a very painful stay at the wicket for the skipper Chirag, although he scored 26 of 21. But I would say it was fraught with too much of agony for himself, shots that didn't come off versus the ones that came off. And eventually his over eagerness to force things rather, innovatively has caused his demise out here. And unfortunately, he looks very dejected, and quite rightly so. At the end of 12, it's 77 for 5, and Tigers in a major spot of bother here with respect to where they would eventually end their score. There's still 5 overs remaining after this, but after that brisk opening stand, things have generally gone downhill and quite a rapid pace. 77 for 5 after 12. So 77 for 5 after 12. Karthik Gattepalli has joined Ravindra Prasad in the middle, and Sukhjinder Singh in his last over, 3 for 11. How good is he? He has bowled today. Sukhjinder just picked up 1 wicket yesterday, but clearly after that rains, etc., the wicket seems to be a little more lively today as far as spinners are concerned. Oh, that's pitched hard and probably a little pace into that ball. And Persaud had it covered as far as length is concerned, but it's the speed that got him. Now, this time, well connected. The stocky Persaud has deposited that over the mid wicket fence for a massive six. That would bring a lot of cheers in the dugout for Tigers. They were hoping for someone to take initiative and get some runs in. It's the business end of of their 17, the last 5. So they will have to take calculated risks, although the number of wickets would probably make them a little circumspect. But in this case, the ball was there to be hit and he cashed on it. Oh, once again, this time losing his wicket, trying a shot too many per shot out there. Probably it was the same length, but there was a lot more turn in this one. Takes the outside edge and the spin and the slip fielder. There's a lot of slip catching that we have seen today. And that explains the turn that the bowlers are getting. In this case, bounce, turn, little bit of deception. Persaud after that 6, perishing the very next ball, trying a repeat shot of that. 83 for 6. Oh, there's a lot to worry about here, Chicago Tigers. Nothing short at the end of the day. It was a little more wider than the previous one, which was on the stumps, probably gave the option for the batter to come underneath it. In this case, it was wide, bowled with a little more turn, probably came a little slower. The batter went for a similar hoik. This time did not have the control over the length and the width. Gave an easy catch to the spin, to the slip fielder. 83 for 6. Aryan Patel comes in to join Karthik Gattepalli. Both the batters haven't faced a ball yet. Sukhjinder, 2 more balls to go for his quota. Can he pick up a 5 out here? 4 for 17. He would rue that 6 in that over, but mind you, sometimes spinners purchase their wicket. They give a slight bit of opening to the batter, creates that little bit of greed in them to go for big shots and pick a wicket. And that should be end of his spell. What a fantastic spell of bowling there by Sukhjinder Singh. And a great sort of practice game for him going into the Super 8. In fact, it was an outside edge dropped in the slip. That's how close he came to picking up a 5 for last ball of his spell. It was a catch, and his skipper did not do the justice for his stalwart bowler today. So Sukhjinder Singh finishing his 4 overs for 4 for 17, 83 for 6 after 13 for Tigers. So another change in bowling. Tarandeep Paul. Tarandeep Paul has picked up just 1 wicket so far in his minor league career, and he's coming in at a time when there's good opportunity to make that wicket tally a little more populated. As I said, it's a good game for Kingsmen to try out some of their untested players, also giving some of their more sort of prominent players who played more games a bit of a well-earned rest before the main sort of next stage of the tournament, the Super 8s, the big stage where they take on all the table toppers from other divisions. A bit of a rest. Oh, that keeping low. Karthik was beaten for the bounce, this time lack of it. So the wicket is definitely causing a bit of a doubt. In fact, more than a bit of a doubt in the mind of the batting team. Flighted ball, and how much did it do after pitching? Of course, going down the leg, but and there's a lot for the spinners here. If they can bowl it in the right areas with light bit of sort of tweak, the wicket has got a lot to offer again. Uh, Innovation tried, and this time it comes off handily. Wait to see if it has taken any part of the bat. Certainly a couple of very welcome runs. Umpire concurring that it did take some part of the bat, so it's runs for the batter. Karthik would take them. He's on 3, 87 for 6. End of this over, end of the 14, it's 87 for 6. 14 overs gone, 87 for 6. The last 3 overs remaining. Ghulam Mudassar is back, and Aryan Patel. Oh, that was a ball again pitched much fuller and bounced more than it could have the batter would have expected. That has been a bit of a story this today. In fact, for the Tigers, they have found multiple balls pitching in that good length spot, uncharacteristically bouncing to that unplayable height, and they've just reacted with some hand-eye reactions. We have seen a few wickets getting created, especially against the spinners, and there were some cheeky runs that came up because of that as well. In that case, just a single taken by Aryan Patel. Oh, this is played up in the air. Karthik Gattapalli, a fielder coming underneath it. They won't get there, and the batters scramble for a couple of runs. This is that stage where the batters would be going for everything that they can. The present run rate is 6.28, and that's not going to take them to anywhere respectable. They will have to get that up. Mathematically, at this rate, they would probably touch about 105 to 110 runs, and that's not going to be enough for a mighty side like Kingsman's. They would probably be looking at something like 120-ish, if not more. But do they have the batting here? Karthik Gattepalli, his strike rate so far is 83 in this innings. He does have some runs under his belt this season, or rather his entire career, and he does have the ability to go at 106, 107 kind of a strike rate. So now more than ever, his team needs that. But it's really good to see the way the Tigers are nurturing a band of very young lads coming up from the system of local cricket. That is such a refreshing thing, and probably that's the bigger story, the fact of what the points table shows and what on a particular day the performance is. But eventually, there is a longer purpose that the teams are in for, and it's great to see the amount of younger, sort of late teens and early 20s kind of talent that are coming up. People who have picked up the game from the generation before them, who've come with the game in their hearts from other parts of the world. Their work and professional needs brought them to the United States. They continued sort of keeping the game and the love for it alive in their hearts and passing it on to their progeny. And it's good to see this generation growing up in the United States, taking cricket on as a sports preference for themselves, and so many youngsters on display and across minor league this season. So full credit to the Tigers for backing so many youngsters here. They will all emerge and blossom over a period of time, and kudos to their ownership and all the people part of the support system, the parents, the coaches, the academies in the local area, what they're doing to keep the confidence and the craft alive. Once again, Paul back in the attack, and he's starting to get that unplayable bounce and turn. Karthik Gattapalli is unable to get that
or negotiate with that. So just to close that out, kudos to everybody in Tiger's system who are backing these youngsters, and good to see so many of them given a chance here today. Oh, there's a little bit of flutter in there. Another ambitious shot tried. The amount of times we see these unconventional shots attempted nowadays in cricket, and one tends to wonder if playing the more conventional options have opportunity to get better results. Things moving at a bit of a snail's pace right now, and Tigers clearly need some inspiration from somewhere here. One of the players here or one of the people coming in next will have to put their hand up to play some long handled shots. But at this point, the spinners have so many prominent questions that they're asking. It's getting a bit difficult for batsmen to try anything substantial here. Oh, this was a good shot again. Aryan Patel, he's played in a bit of a vacant region, got the placement wonderfully right, and a much needed boundary for the Chicago Tigers. They're inching closer to that 100 mark. That was a very good shot. Read the length of the ball well, placed it in that behind in that fine leg region where there was no fielder, probably slightly more deeper fine leg. Yeah, once again tried, but this time his reaction says it all. He's played it into that lonesome fielder, solitary fielder was placed in that square leg fence. No movement from the fielder whatsoever. It just was slate, landed into his open palms. Easy catch taken. The intention from Aryan Patel was correct. He was going for the acceleration that was needed. He he did place the ball well in the previous ball, but this time he could not evade that one fielder who was placed in that position. A wicket falls. Tarundeep Paul has his first today. It's 7 wickets down for 98. We still have a ball in the 16th over. We need Sinha as the new man in. I sometimes feel the low order batters, they are far more clearer sometimes. They don't go behind the merit of the ball. They just go with a single point intent of going for big shots, and that approach can be very, very helpful at times. Right there, you see, when he is not bothering about line and length or the bounce of the wicket, he straight away goes for a premeditated shot. He came with a game plan, went with it. Couple of very valuable runs at that stage. 16 overs done, one to go. It's 100 for 7. Ghulam Mudassar to complete The innings. Oh, he tries a bouncer. That's indicated as one for the over. Karthik Katapalli was asking for a wide or a no ball, anything that you can give. First, he tries to tell the umpire that it was missing. He was outside the off stump, which clearly the umpire signal was, well, in which universe was that in? Because it was on the stumps. Oh, that's the length was much fuller, very close to the Yorker length, well dug out, just a single. Interesting. Spinners have bowled 8 overs today for 41 runs and they've picked up 6 wickets. Clearly, the story of conditions, how well they were utilized by the spinners, and that clearly derailed the Tigers' proceedings here. Vineet Sinha, once again, he is very clear. He's going to go for everything here. So far, he's done it well. He isn't going to think or muck around thinking what is the bowler trying to do, what is the condition here, what pace the ball is coming. He will see the ball, he will hit the ball. And that, to me, the later overs is a very profitable proposition. This time trying a heave, Karthik Gattepalli only playing it over to his stumps, his off peg knocked back, a wicket falls. Ghulam Mudassar gets one here, his first one for the day. Gattepalli clean bowled for 9, and it's 102 for 8 Chicago Tigers. The Tigers were 34 without loss after the third over. They had a big 21 run over again against Ghulam Mudassar, but they sort of went a little quiet after that as the spinners came in. Sukhjinder, he picked up the first wicket and first couple of wickets, in fact, and then things went a little quiet. They did have a good 10th over for 11 runs, but since then it has been a trickle. And they find themselves 102 for 8 with just 2 more balls to go in their innings. As Gaurav Khera is the new man in. The last ball coming up for the Tigers. Vineet Sina has tried and he hit it in the air, it went long distance into the air, and the wicket keeper comes underneath it to take the catch. A wicket falls in the last ball, and the Chicago Tigers ending their innings at 103 for 8. And good rewards for Ghulam Mudassar. He had a very tough over in the beginning stages, going for about 12, 21. So it's good for him to come back and make some amends, picking up 2 wickets, finishing with 2 for 35 for 4. As we go into the innings breaks, after their stipulated 17 overs, the Tigers finished with 9 for 103. And they started really well at the beginning with their openers, with Tansh Nityanandam scoring 15 of 13 and his partner Shiv Shani scoring 22 of 17. At that stage, it almost looked like Tigers would go ahead and produce something rather sizable. But once the spinners came in, as you see there, Sukhjinder Singh, the pick of the bowlers, 4 for 17 of his 4, he put the screws on the proceedings, picked up wickets, and that de-accelerated the whole thing. And eventually, Tigers finishing at 103 for 9. For the Kingsmen, their bowling card, The pick of the bowlers, as I said, Sukhjinder Singh, 4 overs, 17 runs for four. Ghulam Mudassar, 35 for two from his four. Hassan Mohsin, 1 for 14 from his two. Asif Mahmood, he didn't pick up any wickets, 13 runs from his 3 overs. Ayan Satish, 1 for 13 from two. And Tarundeep Paul towards the end, bowling two very miserly overs, 1 for 11. So it's the innings break here at the Tigers Park as we will come back in a short while as the Kingsmen take on the chase, needing 104 from 17 overs. Till then, take it easy. Thank you. Welcome back for the second half of this doubleheader weekend, second half of this doubleheader game of the Chicago Derby for between the Chicago Tigers and Chicago Kingsmen. Both the teams have played each other once yesterday when the Kingsmen scored 157 batting first and Tigers managed only 138. And today the Tigers batted first. They have scored 103 in their stipulated 17 overs. And we are here for the chase as Ramiz Raja, the skipper of Kingsman, is joined by Faraz Ali to take the chase forward. As the match was truncated by a few overs, it was a 17 over game today because of rain and other things. And as we saw in the first innings when Tigers batted, they started very well when the ball was new, but as things became slower with the spinners, they were able to create a lot of wickets and tighten the scoring. Eventually, the score folded for 103. Vineet Sinha starts the proceedings for the Kings, and they're off the mark. The very first ball, as the skipper Ramiz Raja takes a single. Faraz Ali to take his first strike. Vineet Sinha looks quite a stocky bowler. Clearly, a lot of shoulder in that action. He's starting proceedings here for the Kings today. Ramiz Raja was number 3 on the Central Division batting leaderboard for this season with 322 runs coming into this game. Bats at a pretty decent clip, 125, 126, that kind of strike rate. Oh, there's go, the initiative. He wants to think, he wants to get on with things, wants to probably finish things early and have his afternoon free for something beyond cricket. The Kingsmen have qualified for the next stage. They are the table toppers for the Central Division with 14 points, and they clearly want to have a good outing here, get their confidences a world of good by winning with a couple of points, with their batters getting some experience, some good sort of match time here. That bounce of this wicket has been the hallmark and headlines for today. In that case, the bowler is disappointed because the umpires feel it was well above the head height, and probably rightly so. I said Vineet puts a lot of shoulder in his ball there, of course, and the wicket is responding in kind today. We've seen a lot of wickets falling because of the unexpected, surprising bounce. Many would feel it's not the most conducive batting track. Some grain of doubt is there in the minds of the batters with that kind of bounce coming from a good length spot, but we get on with the game. Immediately trying a paddle shot, shoddy job from the wicket keeper, making a hash of it. A 4, and clearly Vineet is probably gesturing towards the skipper. That was lower than ordinary. A clean, easy grab by the wicket keeper, awkwardly placed. An innovation tried by the batter, missing it, probably foxing the wicket keeper on the way. not the most. And as for the umpire's decision, there was a little bit of a thin edge there, probably. It was not a bye, and hence probably was not given a wide. It was a four for the batter, and clearly, first wicket here. Wonderful outcome for Vineet. He wasn't happy with that boundary conceded by the wicketkeeper in the previous ball. Probably put his all. That was a vicious turn, vicious swing by the ball from the bowler. Ball came in sharply inside, and Ramiz Raja was caught in no man's land, playing onto his stumps. A very vital wicket for the Tigers. If ever they wanted something substantial to start this bowling innings for them, they would have wanted the back of Ramiz Raja quickly, and they have achieved that. It would be great to see that replay again because the swing from Vineet was remarkable. He wasn't happy before that in the previous ball as the wicketkeeper let go a four, but he came back positively. He deployed some good swing on that ball, and he got his team a wicket. An early breakthrough in the very first over. That's the best you can ask for when you're defending a modest score like 102, 103 rather. Tajinder Singh comes in for the first at the fall of the first wicket, number three, 7 for 1. Tigers will be hoping a few more wickets in the power play just to put the cat amongst the pigeons here. Oh, that was a hit me ball there from beneath after that previous one where it shown some movement. This was a straight outside the off stump. Give a lot of room for Tajinder to open his arms up and get his account open with a couple of runs. 9 for 1 after the first. Taking a cue from the bowling innings of the Kingsmen and their own experience while batting first, the Tigers immediately starting with spinner from the other end as Karthik Gatapalli, the left arm spinner. They clearly have seen there's a lot for the spinners here, and they have a very tiny window to make a significant sort of impact on this game so that they don't let the batting team get away with that chase. Wickets is the key for them. And so I like the initiative here. I like the fact that they're going with a turn and the slow left arm spinners here. Two rather very ordinary balls there, clearly. When you score about 103 from 17, there isn't a huge margin of doubt. In fact, there's no margin for error. This time on the leg stump, with the batsman playing it well down to the long leg area. In fact, there was no bat on it. It was a wide ball, so 3 wides on the trot. Katapalli has a lot to think about here. Comparing with comparing with the Kingsmen bowlers, especially Sukhjinder Singh, I think the length there that Karthik is deploying is much more fuller, and that will not disturb or create any sort of trouble for the batters. It's the shorter of length ones, that one that we just saw. I pulled the length tad back, and that dropped a little more short of length area, and that's the area where the bounce is unpredictable, and he gets a lot of turn and bounce from there. Sukhjinder was brilliant. He's probably aided by his height too, but there you go, and that's probably a wicket coming up here. And yes, it is indeed a short of length ball, pitched, bounced more than the batter expected, turned and moved away from the batter. He was committed to a more square of the wicket, cut kind of a shot, went on with it, got committed, and all he could do was balloon that up, and the cover fielder ran and picked up a wicket. That's what I was saying, that on this wicket you have to pull the length a little back, and a shorter of length ball would give you more variations for the against the batsman. Bounce and turn would come into play, and more importantly, there would be a lot of mystery that would get created, and batsmen would get foxed into playing shots and getting committed to shots and committing errors. In this case, an error was induced. Tajinder Singh falling to a wicket to the spinner, and the Kings, in fact, the Kingsmen are in a bit of a trouble here with 2 for 13 in the second over of their chase. On the other hand, the Tigers, they would be cock a hoop here with the kind of start their bowlers have started with. Kattepalli, he has given 3 wides in this over, but he hasn't given a run from the bat yet. He's given 4 runs. All have been extras, none of them from the bat. So he's bowling well. If he can keep his length, his line proper, his spinners have a lot to do in this game, and we've already seen. Once again, he's probably got his message that he has to pull the length back. The last 3 balls were wonderfully bowled, slightly shorter in length, and immediately there was turn and bounce. That's a bounce. Visually, it looks like it's sitting up nicely for the batsman, but it comes in a very unexpected way, and hence it's difficult to play. So after 2, it's 13 for 2. We need Sinha to continue. Raj Singh is the new man who's come in. The fall of Tajinder Singh. Faraz Ali is still there. He's on strike at this point. There's a wide slip, probably more conventional second slip. It's easy to play against the faster bowlers here. Not much of mystery in there. Batsmen would like the pace coming in. It's only when the pace is taken off This wicket has created a lot of trouble, and that spongy kind of bounce that has probably come from the faster bowlers when they have rolled their fingers over the ball. Those have been the wicket taking ones. But then it's the spinners who've predominantly taken most of the wickets here so far. Six in the first innings, one already in this innings. So 7 wickets so far of the day. This time, Vineet bowling more of a cutter, the ball coming into the batsman. Hence, the pace was a bit slower. Raj Singh wanted to sort of heave it on the leg side, could not. Probably the ball got stuck somewhere in his body, but that's the deal here. A pure play seam up ball can go distance. That would give the much needed momentum. Anything other than that, bowled at a bit of a shorter length with a cutter kind of a texture on it, would be very beneficial for the bowlers here. Well built Raj Singh is a tall, sturdy unit. Really looks like someone who can give a lot of thump onto the ball. Still early days for him. Raj Singh has just played 3 minor league games. Hasn't had anything substantial so far as batting is concerned. So he is definitely looking at this opportunity to make some prominence or mark for himself. Vineet Sinha, on the other hand, after that wicket of the last ball in his first over, he looks well settled here. He's definitely getting some movement. Bowling with a bit of pace. It's targeted towards the batter, not giving too much room for Raj Singh to open. As we saw a couple of balls back, Raj Singh is looking for something to come in a slot so they can go down the ground. It's trying to loosen his shoulder, get the feeling there is a big one coming here. There we go. He tries, heaves it towards the square leg fence. Just a single though. The outfield is very sluggish. It's quite understandable after some rains that were there in the earlier part of the day. The outfield tends to get a little heavy, especially if the grass is a little grown up. And so the outfield looks a bit golfish. We did see some force coming up in the early part of the Kings innings, but it dried up towards the end, and we haven't seen much in the outfield so far in this. That's a rather wide ball, and again, rightly signaled wide by the umpire. It's a wonderful start for the Tigers. They picked up 2 wickets. This third over of the power play on the verge of finishing, and they haven't let the Kingsmen get away with the scoring at all. 16 for 2 so far. Quietly turned for a single, end of 3. It's 17 for 2 for the Kingsmen. Vineet Sinha, 2 overs, 1 for 13, and Karthik Gattepalli, his first over going for 4 runs, picked up a wicket, valuable wicket of Ramiz Raja, and he's starting the second in the spell. This game would not have too much of a bearing from a points table perspective, but as it's a game nevertheless part of the minor league. And as I said earlier part of the day, both the teams trying out some of their bench strength, some of the younger players who had lesser game time this season. So from that standpoint, it's an important fixture as a lot of players out here are trying to put their hand up, get themselves noticed, get their own confidence a world of good. For us this time, steering it for a single. A little bit of room outside the off stump from Gattepalli. So it's a good opportunity for young players who had lesser match time to go out there and put some prominent performances in. And also from a Kingsman point of view, they're trying their bench strength, especially when they go into that Super 8 stage. They would want more and more players in good form. This time, Raj Singh, he has timed it. It's a colossal shot, and it was writ large that he was looking to get on with the game. Something big was coming, and there you are. It was in the zone, a bit more fuller from Kattepalli, and Raj is a big unit. He has a long reach here, his tall stature. He sat down, picked it up nicely, and deposited over square leg fence for six. Immediately, the length altered, and suddenly that vicious turn was back. Raj beaten. It's all happening here. Once again, this time pulled back. This is up in the air. Could be a catch. Fielder coming underneath it, but unfortunately couldn't get to the ball. And it crosses the fence. A six followed by a four here. If at all there was a little bit of moral victory, the bowler will take it because the batsman got deceived by the length and the turn and the bounce. But it's the power of Raj and also the fact that it was a power play, not too many fielders outside the 30-yard circle. It's a four. Oh, this time again, bowling it much shorter. And the turn and the bounce. Raj probably feels it's a bit wide, but that's the length which has caused a lot of problem today. No harm done to the score in that last ball. 4 overs done, 29 for 2. So the required rate isn't an issue with the way they are going. And the Tigers will only come into this game if they keep nudging at the wickets. But going by the last over, Raj Singh looks pretty determined to get some big overs in this power play stage. The asking rate is just 5.77, and the going rate at this point is 7.25. So, like I said, it's not a worry. The Tigers have to keep picking up wickets. Yash Patel is the next change in bowling. So the Tigers are deploying spin from both ends now. It's quite understandable. Spinners had a lot to do in this game so far. Oh, that's a lot of flight. Always great to see when spinners can show the heart and the courage to flight the ball, invite the batter. There's a lot of turn they can get. But it's also a big risk in a format like this, where at this stage it talks about the heart of the bowler. This time pitched a little short. Faraz makes a room and thumps it into the mid-wicket side for a four. Faraz has been at the wicket for some time and he hasn't been able to connect something substantial. And this particular shot will give him a lot of confidence. So after a brief flutter, a couple of wickets falling, the Kingsmen are coming to their own. Faraz Ali usually is a pretty brisk scorer. So his career strike rate is about 134-ish. So he would not want to hang around for a long time. He would probably want to get on with things. Raj Singh was teeing himself up for a big one. I mean, the back lift and the crouch, you could see he was kind of putting the energy behind that ball, but Yash did it well. Pull the length back again, that same, and let the turn and the bounce do the rest. Outside the off stump again. No momentum whatsoever. Raj wanted to give everything to that ball, throwing the kitchen sink at it, missing. No harm done. It's the end of the fifth over. It's 34 for 2. Karthik Gattapalli continuing with his third over here. Both the batters, Faraz and Raj, haven't played all the games here. Raj Singh has just played 3 games. He's at a good sort of 30 score. His entire sort of aggregate for this year's minor league has been just 50 runs. So he would want to use this stay for some note. Faraz has played it up in the air, but falling short of that mid-wicket fielder there. His heart would have been in the mouth. Again, it's the awkward length out there and probably that unexpected bounce that in the last moment induced that uppish shot. Faraz too has just played 4 games this season. He has about 41 runs, of which 20 came in one particular game, which is the highest score. So both these batters haven't got too many games, and it's a good opportunity for them to make this one prominent. And again, yeah, Raj, he looks very confident and comfortable playing those sweep shots. One for 18 for Karthik Gattepalli since third over here. Nicely bowled there. We are in the sixth over, and the Kingsmen are 36 for 2 at this stage. The Tigers were 47 for 2. Nicely tucked away to the mid wicket. The fielders are slightly spread out now, so there's ample time for them to amble over for a single. So as I said, the Tigers at this stage were about 47 for 2, but mind you, they had already gone past their accelerating high and were settling down for a slowish progress from here on. Their momentum slipped significantly after that initial burst. So it's not too much of a difference, although it does seem like substantial at this point. Raj Singh again. Poor fielding there by him. But probably it's not the most comfortable bounce of the ground, but there was a bit of a misfield. A single taken. End of the 6 overs, 38 for 2. Oh, that's a fantastic shot there by Raj. As a new bowler comes in, it's Garv Khera, and it's an absolute loosener outside the off stump. A lot of space given to Raj, and he was waiting eagerly for a ball of that length, which he could open up his broad shoulders and muscle it over that cover boundary, and he did that fantastically. A boundary. Slow ball there from Garv. And once again, a slightly tardy job by the wicket keeper collecting that ball, which was a direct hit onto the stumps. Single given, additional single given, in fact, as an overthrow there. But that first ball was, in fact, a six. Sailed over the cover boundary. It was so fast, it was very difficult to sort of spot it, but very well timed. Raj looks in an absolute ominous touch here. He's got a couple of sixes already under his belt. This chase is coming thick and fast now. They're picking up the momentum. They're unperturbed after those two early wicket losses. Oh, as I said that, a commentator's curse. A ball, slower ball, bowled a little foolish length, probably keeping a bit low. Raj got completely foxed by it. In fact, it was not. It didn't keep low. It just came in. There was a lot of gap between the bat and the pad. Loses his stump. He was going so well, Raj Singh. He would rue the fact that he didn't read the movement on that ball. Losing his stumps, 3 wickets down, 46. The Tigers aren't out of this game at all. They may have conceded some runs in these last few overs, but they certainly are in the wicket taking thick of things. 46 for 3. They still have 58 to protect. And as we know that the Kingsmen have gone in with a slightly untested kind of squad compared to what their usual squad is. They're a pretty mighty side, and I'm sure their bench strength is also very strong compared to some of the prominent players who are sitting it out today. But let's see how this goes. Things are becoming more and more interesting with every wicket that falls. Raj has done well by reducing the deficit remarkably. He scored 21, and now it's got to see what Raghav Satish, who's the new man in, he does, along with Faraz Ali, who's here, who's one of the openers who came in and is still there. Raj Singh scored 21 of 17 balls. Gaurav Khera, after a six from his first ball, has come back brilliantly. In fact, that wicket was completely his doing. Moved the ball well and was able to deceive the batsman. Again, ordinary ball there, wide outside the off stump. That would be called wide. The Tigers are probably testing what they will have to do after this particular season gets over to go and prepare for the next one. So they're trying some of their bench today here, I'm sure, making copious notes about what has been their season like, what stood out, what were the positives, what are some of the great sort of opportunities that are showing up. If there is any particular base they need to cover more by bringing in newer talent or changing the combination differently next season, it's an ongoing process. It's end of a season does not mean it's a definite end. It's just a pit stop probably before the next one gets on. And I said that earlier too. It's remarkable to see the amount of youngsters they have been playing with, which is always a great sign how the franchise, how the ownership thinks about building a squad for the future. So full kudos to them, and they're using this. They've got a good facility out here. Raghav Satish pushes that ball, and there's a huge shout for run out. There was a very brief moment of exhilaration in the face of Gaurav Khera. He thought it was the direct hit had caught the batsman short of crease, but that was not to be. The umpire was very well placed to say it was not out. Interesting to see if there is a replay for that, if there was any sort of closing chance in that one. End of the over, seventh gone, 50 for 3. Slip in place as Yash Patel starts his second over. Change of ends for him. Immediately there was some bounce there. It's been fascinating, and I've been deeply fascinated by the bounce on this wicket and how much spinners are able to do the moment they're able to pull the length back a little. Batsmen of any caliber were completely at sea. You saw so many wickets falling today. That turn and bounce. This time, Faraz holding himself back, letting the ball come to him. Couple of runs for him there. Yash is a tall, lanky bloke, and he would also get a little height advantage here that would aid that bounce that we've been talking about all day. Nice drift, those one, the ball coming in. The end, well played by Faraz, just pushing it to the cover for a single. No risk needed at this stage, so it's batsmen don't need to play anything airy fairy at this stage. They can play with the merit of the ball, go with nudging their singles, unless they want to take the challenge of finishing it early. Sometimes batting teams do that, especially in a game like this, where they have everything covered. There is no pressure for points. They would just tell their batters, say, okay, let's take this as a challenge. This is not a 17 over game. This is a 12 over game, and we need to finish this in the next five. And those kind of simulations, the coaches in modern day cricket do so that they can make something exciting out of a rather inconsequential fixture like this one. The end of the eighth, it's 55 for 3. Singles start the ninth over. Raghav Satish, he seems to be feeding strike to Faraz Ali, who's been at the crease for some time now. 6.86 is the current run rate for the batting team. And there's absolutely no need for any risk whatsoever here. A lot of breeze on the ground. Clearly, the weather is fascinatingly conducive for cricket at this point. A lot of breeze, sunshine blazing. The sawdust reminds of the early rains in the early part of the day. The game got delayed by some time because there was waterlogged around the wicket. It was reduced to 17 overs. But it's turned out to be a fantastic cricketing day so far, and a good game of cricket. Although low scoring, but we've seen some testing moments. It's always good to see when the bowlers have a lot to cherish. It's a T20 cricket can sometimes be extremely loaded in the batter's favor. The bowlers have nothing to get cheery about, but in this game, that was not to be. It's a low scoring affair. Bowlers had a lot to say. The wicket gave a lot of assistance to the bowlers. And as we see even now, the Kingsmen batters are playing it cautiously. They're not trying anything adventurous. They don't need to. There isn't any scoreboard pressure at this stage. But the Tigers, they are not giving it up either. They picked up 3 wickets. They bowled tightly. The current run rate is below 7, so they've done well, barring a few aberrations here and there. I was played slightly in the air, but this is not the time when you will get too many closing fielders. As Garv, immediately the shot was played. After the shot was played, Garv turned to his skipper and said, I need somebody in the closing." He's trying to change his pace, which sometimes can induce an early shot, and the resultant shot can balloon up into the closing area. He doesn't have anybody there. Cautiously turned towards the square leg. The batters would probably come back for 2 there. End of 9. It's 60 for 3. At this stage, both the teams are remarkably close to each other. It's 63 for 3 for the Tigers when they were at 9 overs, and after 9, the Kingsmen at 60 for 3. That's lifted up in the air, and Raghav Satish has played that slightly wide of that fielder on the cover boundary, and he gets his first boundary of this innings. It was well placed shot. There was a little bit of room in the ball given by the bowler, and Satish, he rocked back, made some adjustment, and played it in the vacant areas, beating the fielder for a 4. Good shot. Nicely flighted there by Yash Patel. We've seen a couple of flighted ones from him. Looks to be a very guily bowler. Is not afraid flighting the ball up. This time a little more flatter, fuller, and that's been played with good timing by Satish. Looks to be a good, solid, compact player. Technically correct. So many left-handers in this Kingsman lineup. Faraz Ali, you would like to probably look at his strike rate here, although it's not a necessity, but he's 18 of 19. He's playing in a very sedate manner. Nicely flighted. This time he has got himself under that ball, and he's sent it packing towards the mid-wicket fence for 4. That was slightly fuller and gave that opportunity for Faraz to bend and get underneath that ball and play for four. That would give him a lot of confidence for us. Oh, this time it was caught in front of the stumps, and Yash Patel gets his revenge after that boundary in the previous ball. Very well bowled. Again flighted. That one pitched on the leg stump, turned and straightened onto the stumps, pushing the batsman to play on the back foot. And at that line, anything that misses the bat, hits the pad, is an absolute sitting duck. For us, after a long stay at the wicket, almost looked like opening his shoulder, getting a little move on an innings that kind of looked like a bit stalled, goes for 22. But he provided some solidity on the other end when some wickets fell in a heap. The two boundaries in that innings, his strike rate of 105-ish. Faraz Ali is LBW by Yash Patel, and that brings Hassan Mohsin out of the wicket. 10 overs are done, 69 for 4. Change of ends for Karthik Gatapalli at 1 for 20 from his third, 3 overs, coming to bowl his last. 35 more runs to win for the Kingsmen from 7 overs. Asking rate is just a modest 5. Raghav Satish is batting on 11. Hassan Mohsin is joined. He's yet to open his account. Gatapalli, mild appeal there. Probably felt it was pad before the bat. So much to cheer for the spinners today. Side the off stump, just steered away or pushed away to the point region for a single. 6 wickets went to the spinners when the Tigers batted, and 2 out of the 4 when Kingsmen are batting. So 8 wickets picked up by 8 out of the 13 wickets that fell so far in the day picked up by the spinners. And they bowled at a very good economy rate. 41 runs of the 8 spinners overs during the Tigers innings. Oh, that's a very cheeky shot there by Hassan Mohsin. He's yet to open his account, but he tried this reverse scoop sort of a shot or reverse sweep that got a top edge and ballooned over the keeper. Couple of runs to open his account there. Tigers need wickets here. Oh, that's outside the off stump. Umpire has given him out. Hassan Mohsin, immediately after that ball went past him, indicated he hadn't touched anything. It probably hit his body and went to the slip. The fielders were celebrating already, and the umpire confirmed that it probably took some part of the bat while going to the slip fielder. It hit some part of the bat, hit his back thigh, went onto the fielder in the slips. A wicket falls here, Hassan Mohsin. He wouldn't be happy. He doesn't look happy for certain. But Karthik Gatapalli, he is cock a hoop as the Tigers clinch the 5th wicket. They need to be getting wickets to create anything out of this game. Don't go anywhere. It's 32 more to get from 6.3 overs. But the critical part is the Kingsmen have lost 5 wickets, and you never say never in cricket, do you? Asif Mahmood has come in. There is no pressure from a required run rate perspective, but the spinners here are causing some challenge. This was the ninth wicket today from the spin bowlers. There is a lot of turn and bounce and unexpected kind of character from the ball when it pitches in that little zone of discomfort in front of the batter, like this short of length region. And any batter who's trying to get too adventurous, playing some sweep shots, etc., enhance that risk manyfold. As we saw with Hassan in the previous ball, if he stayed upright and played it with straight bat in front of the wicket, he probably would have saved his wicket. He might have got a run, but that uncharacteristic sweep shot got his wicket down there. Oh, that's it, hit in front of the stumps, and that's a nod from the umpire. No hassle giving it a decision, out decision there. It was plumb in front of the stumps. Asif Mahmood caught in front of the stumps. Plumb LBW. First ball, Karthik Gatapalli. He's on a hat trick. That was a total goner from the moment it hit the pads. Full length ball, right on the middle stump. An absolute nothing shot. Missed it completely. It hit, thudded into the pads. LBW. Now. 32 suddenly starts looking like 62 to get 72 for 6. One more ball to go in this over. The last one from the spell of Karthik Gattepalli. And he's on a hat trick. How dramatic can it get? Two LBWs to get him where he is. Now we'll have to see what happens in this last ball. It's such an exciting stage. Like we said, this match has no consequence for both the teams from a points table perspective, but a competitive cricket game in a league like minor league, there is a lot to play which is beyond the points table. Tigers would like to end the season with a victory over the mightiest of this division. That would give them a huge momentum finishing this season and starting to look forward. There's a game within the game. There's a lot of players who haven't gone too much games in this competition and they're here. So they want to prove something to themselves. Here's Karthik, last ball on a hat trick. Watchfully played by Sukhjinder Singh, who was in the thick of things, picking up 4 wickets earlier in the day, probably knows a thing or two about the character of this mysterious wicket. End of spell for Karthik Gattepalli. Give him a big hand. 3 for 23 or 4. Wonderfully bowled. He was a spearhead for wicket takers for the Tigers. He's got them back in this game. And it'll be interesting to see where they go from here and what they do. 11 overs gone, 72 for 6. So we have 6 overs to go, 32 to get. Mathematically, that looks like an absolute easy going. The team batting can do it in a canter, but Six wickets are down, and it's a fairly inexperienced batting lineup. Raghav Satish, his highest score coming into this particular game is 19. So this is a situation he has not been in much prior to this, and especially seeing the game through. He's a senior batting partner here. Sukhjit, on the other hand, he has his career scores in minor league in single digits so far. So, do they have the batting firepower to see through the rest of the 30 runs? Yash Patel here, outside the off stump. That was wide. But probably after pitching came into that little guiding lines on the side. That gave it away for the umpire. Not a wide called. Oh, once again, well flighted outside the off stump. Sukhjit looks like a player. If you give him the invitation, he will go for it. Remarkably close there. This time on the stumps and straight. No hassles for the umpire. Anything on the stumps, straight, hitting the pads is going to be out. And in this case, it's a repeat of what happened in the last over. Sukhjit caught right in front of the stumps. No hesitation from the umpire to raise his finger. Seventh wicket down. I must say, the winometer, if there is one such like that, is dramatically tilting now in favor of the Tigers. The Kingsmen in all sorts of bother. 73 for 7. Mind you, they were cruising along after early loss of two wickets. They were 38 for 2. They lost their third on the round about that 50-run stage. But since then, they've just lost momentum. They've lost wickets. The spinners, they're having a huge say in this game. Karthik Gattapalli, two wickets. Yash Patel, Karthik Gattapalli, three wickets, in fact, and Yash Patel, two. Five of the seven wickets have come from the spinners after six wickets out of nine were picked up by spinners in the first innings. What a day for the spinners here. The wicket is giving so much to them. In fact, the last one that just happened had nothing to do much with the spin. It was bowled full, but bowled fast. It caught the batsman in front of the stumps. Now, Aryan Satish, he is the new man in. He joins Raghav Satish. Aryan Satish has some experience with the bat. He has 34 runs for, but more importantly, has he been in a situation like this? Once again, it was so well bowled, it just missed the outside edge of the bat. Subtle turn. What a wonderful bowler this man is, Yash Patel. He uses the length and the line, his height, his guile, the flight, and this time it was flat outside the leg stump. Aryan Satish has kind of timed it. The throw was very close to the stumps wicketkeeper, dislodging the bails, but Aryan making his ground was very close. Second run, 12 overs gone, 75 for 7. Ravindra Pershaw on the bowling change. So after Gattipalli's spell, Tigers want to continue the spin option. Three wickets to get for them to win this game. 29 to get for the Kingsmen to pull off victory here. That's short. That short pitch came at a pace. Wonderfully played there by Raghav Satish. But fielders on the boundary now, they would only get a single. The classic old tradition of testing how much breeze is there. Satish bending down, picking on some sawdust, sprinkling it in the air to see how much breeze is playing against. So much to play for in cricket. It's not just the bat and the ball, it's the condition the wicket is in. Within the wicket, there are zones that behaves differently. There is the temperature, there is the moisture, there is the wind. And that's why this sport is one of the most fascinating ones, that there's so much controllable and there's so much uncontrollable for the players when they deal with the state of the game. Someone said it pretty lightly. This is probably the only sport that comes closest to living your life. You battle the conditions, you battle so much of atmospheric changes around you, which has the bearings on the state of the game. This is the shortest format, but as longer the formats become, it starts testing the overall endurance of the player. Once again, there's a bit of pace. That's only going to make things easier, and it does. It does, as Raghav plays that, waits for it, was short, and it kind of bounced and came at a good height. Although it was a little awkward, but he still went on with that slightly uppish slash shot, and that went to the third man fence for four. Much needed boundary, much needed boundary. 23 to get now. This time wonderfully bowled there by Persaud. He bowled it slightly fuller, gave it a little bit of flight, slowed the pace, and immediately there was some tentativeness in the batsman's approach. This time it was again slightly short of length. There's a fielder at the point region to stop it. Nothing much given in this over apart from that boundary. This time a little more sort of grip and turn there. End of this over, 13 gone, 81 for 7. So 4 remaining, and Vineet Sena comes back into the attack, which was Vineet has bowled 2 overs for 13 runs, picking up a wicket. Karthik Gattapalli 4 overs, 23 runs, 3 wickets. Yash Patel 4 overs, 22 runs, 2 wickets. Ravindra Prasad, he's bowled 1 for 6 without a wicket. So the spinners have bowled 9 overs and 9 overs for 51 runs, and they picked up 5 wickets. 9 overs, 51 runs for 5 wickets. That's like 5.5 runs an over. After Kingsman bowled 8 overs for 41 runs for 6 wickets. What a day for spinners. It's still not done. 4 overs to go, 23 to get. Satish and Satish at crease. Aryan Satish and Raghav Satish. It would be interesting to see what they can do. Can they win a game from here? Both of them, early stages of their career, remarkable experience if they can pull a victory from here. Huge confidence to their fledgling careers, upcoming careers. And on the other hand, the Tigers, They are smelling a victory here. Can they close it out? They have some options. Gaurav Khera has 2 overs left. Vineet Sinha has two. Ravindra Prasad has three. Oh, that's short and bouncy, and outfield is kind of not giving too much for the batters for their strokes. Raghav Satish is in 18 of 21. He scored with 2 boundaries. Aryan is in 4 of 4. Kudos to the curators here. Many would feel that it's a very unpredictable wicket, but from I see, it's a nice, true, bouncy track, this one. A bit for everyone in this. Makes exciting a game of cricket very exciting here. Raghav is doing it nicely. There's some push to the cover point boundary. The man there cleans it up, just a single. Chirag Gandhi, the skipper for Tigers, having some conversation with Vineet Sinha. The plan would be to keep bowling slower cutters here. This time full on the leg stump. Aryan has pushed it to the mid-wicket boundary. The fielder had to come in there quite a distance. Surprisingly, just a single taken. Singles is what the Kingsmen would want to continue doing with. They do not need anything flashy at this point. And to be fair to them, they haven't really played any bad shots that caused wicket. I think the last few wickets, it were the spinners bowling it onto the stumps, picked up a lot of LBWs, so they created their own wickets. To be fair to the Kingsmen, they're not committing too many mistakes here. They're again cautiously played, doing it in singles. This is the last weekend for the league games, the group, the division games to get over. Maybe we'll have another weekend next week and some more games. Teams in each division would play 10 games. And the top two teams of each division, East, West, South, and Central, the top two teams in each division then go on to play the Super 8s. There's still some games left. There are a bunch of them happening simultaneously in the later half of the day today. That's well played. Straight of the wicket. The long off fielder coming in. Single of every ball, 6 from that over, 14 done, 87 for 7. It's a bit of a conference there between the Kings bowlers. Clearly, a lot to discuss. What should the game plan going here? They're going for a victory, 17 to defend, 3 overs remaining. What are their options? Should they go with their mainline bowlers, the faster options? Like I said, Vineet Sinha has got three. He just finished an over. Garv Khera has two. Ravindra Prasad has one. What is the option they're going with here? Jitin Patel it is. Gandhi having a quick chat with him, making it very clear what he expects. Looks like a bit of a wrist spinner there. So Jitin Patel is probably bringing in some leg spinners here. And a bit of a partnership built between the two Satishes. The wicket, Raghav Satish is playing a very responsible knock here. He's on strike. Jitin Patel gets his field spot on. Yeah, that's a leg spinner there. Slightly short, shorter than what the bowler expected. Leg spinner is the ball that one bowls using the wrist, and the traditional one pitches on the leg stump and then moves across the batter. While the off is the one that goes the other way around. There we go. No speed whatsoever, so the momentum has to be generated by the batsman. In this case, single was always on. At this stage, singles is what they need. There is no scoreboard pressure, so unless there is a remarkable ball that foxes the batsman, deceives the batsman in front of the stumps into something false and creates a wicket, hoping that batter is going to make mistakes of ordinary balls is too much to expect, really. Now that's flighted, took an eternity to reach the batsman. Raghav did well not committing into a shot too early. Once again, took a long time to come. There's a flight, and that's what Chirag is telling Jitin. That's the way. That's the way. Sometimes it's not what the ball gets bowled, it's sometimes how you play with the patience of the batsman. In this case, he's definitely trying that. Again, one that's pitched up, flighted, and Raghav takes the invitation and he has holed it out onto the long on fence. In fact, it's a deep mid wicket fence. Jitin Patel worked on the patience of the batsman, eventually, with a flighted ball, making Raghav lose his patience and commit to that airy shot, getting caught on the boundary line. That's a remarkable piece of warfare, bowling warfare, if you may, because a bowler comes in very inexperienced, trusts his craft, works on the batter's patience, and against all odds, when impatient shot was not needed, ekes out a wicket. That's what it happened. That's what I said initially when I mentioned that does Raghav Satish have the experience of finishing the game? And this was completely an inexperienced led shot, giving himself to that minor pressure he created with a couple of dot balls, going for a big shot because of the flight, losing a wicket. Full marks to Jitin Patel, full marks to Chirag Gandhi for executing the plans and giving the confidence to the youngster Jitin Patel here. 89 for 8. Well, we are going into an absolute humdinger of a contest as Tarundeep Paul comes in to join Aryan Satish. Well, what a wicket to get. Raghav Satish, he was the man, he was the dominant batter right now. He was doing things very well to get him to be deceived by the more than the deception, it was for him to fall to that entire patient situation. Bowler showed tremendous amount of clarity and patience himself. There again, another flight, and it's up in the air. Nobody there. That was a brief chance. The long on fielder and the deep mid wicket, long off, and the deep cover fielder converging, but it fell tad short. Wonderful over. Full marks to Jatin Patel. What a fantastic first over. He will only probably bowl just one in this game. 15 overs done, 90 for 8. So, Ravindra Prasad coming from the other end. Chirag Gandhi knowing very well now that the answer lies in the spinners. So he's probably going to go with the spinners. First time the asking rate has gone on to 7, and last two wickets in the balance. I probably would have erred by saying Jitin would only bowl one. There are two more to go, so he might probably bowl the last over. Ravindra Prasad there, Tarundeep Paul giving a bit of a hoik. There's a fielder in the mid-wicket fence. Just a single. What does Aryan Satish do? Ravindra Prasad, his first over yielded 6. If he can restrict it to somewhere there, 5 to 6 runs in this over, he would give a lot for the last over to be there. If he can pick up a wicket, that would be absolute gold dust. Nicely played there by Aryan Satish. Rocking back and just pushing it towards that cover point region. How many times have we seen the low scoring contests creating such exciting cricket games? Oh, that's again Tarundeep Paul. He is a very mighty bloke. He looks like a very mighty bloke. He's a stockily built man, and he has given it everything, and that sort of reduces the equation from very interesting to interesting now. That's a massive 6. In fact, a ball that was not very challenging considering the circumstances. Very short, no turn whatsoever, sat up for a tall, mighty bloke like Tarundeep, and he had all he had to do was line himself up and connect, which he did remarkably well. Immediate confidence. There's 6 more to win. Suddenly, contest looks flat now. That's 6. How things have changed because of that one shot. Can there be a wicket here now? Now faster, fuller, slightly more turn, grip, bounce, no run. That's the kind of ball you've got to go with, probably. And we've seen a lot happen because of that kind of ball. The previous one was such a hit me delivery, got its due. And this time, an outside edge, the wicket keeper got the gloves. Was that a drop chance? Very, very difficult one. There was definitely an outside edge, and Mudaliar, he could get his gloves on time, probably did very well because if that could have eluded the wicketkeeper was a certain 4. Because Tarundeep is going at everything with full might. Overdone, 16 gone, 98 for 8, 6 to win over the last over. Don't go anywhere. This match is an absolute cracker. It has to be Jitin Patel, the last over. Tarundeep Paul. He's done remarkably well in that last over by getting that six. If that was a economical ball, things would have been very, very different now. Just six to get in this over. Jitin Patel, we saw it last over. He bowled some very useful deliveries, flighted leg spinners. Batsmen were caught between caution and aggression, induced the wicket of Raghav Satish. Now it's Aryan Satish. Chirag Gandhi taking all his time here to make the field changes. Will it be Jitin Patel's day? Can he stop the opposition from getting 6 runs? Flight pitched up outside the off stump. Captain doing wonderfully well there. Aryan Satish could not place it either side of Chirag Gandhi, who's in the short cover position, fielding that. Now there's a switch hit, and that's very well done by Aryan. He waited for that one, made a reverse hit into the gap for 4. That was slightly shorter, gave him enough time for the batter to make all the changes and execute that shot. 2 more to get for the 4 balls. The Kingsman, although the game is going down to the wire, is probably showing some maturity here down the line, down the order. And probably the Tigers are missing a good frontline spinner here who could have done wonders with Yash and Karthik. And that's pushed to the cover region for a single. Aryan Satish, the scores are level. Tigers would feel that they would have done fantastically well if they could have got another full-time spinner up their ranks. Well, again, hindsight is probably the best and the most comfortable position to go and make decisions. Nothing to take away from the spinners here, how they have done this particular game. 6 wickets have been taken from 12 over. This is a 12th over in progress. 67 runs from 12 overs. Oh, again, 2 balls, 1 run. Tarundeep had decided where he would go. Jitin is not giving any pace, flighting the ball, moving it away after pitching. Oh, this time it's a stump. He gets a wicket here. Oh my God. Tarundeep Paul, what have you done here? You just needed a single. Look at the way Aryan Satish is. Aryan Satish reaction says it all. He's just standing mid of the pitch and looking at Tarundeep saying, what have you done? All you've got to do is push it in the cover or somewhere to close by, and there was a single for the taking. He goes for the big shot, misses it completely. Jitin Patel's guile, deceiving him, and the wicket-keeper Nikhil Mudliar doing it well to execute the stumping. 1 more ball to go, 1 run to win. Scores are level. All 3 outcomes, in fact, 2 outcomes possible. It could either go super over, where again it opens up the whole game, or of course the Kingsmen would win. Ghulam Mudassar comes in, is the last man in. Jitin Patel, take a bow, youngster. Never too easy to come and bowl the last 2 overs as your first 2 overs of the game. And when you are a leg spinner who bowls flighted balls, which almost makes every single ball an invitation to go for the big glory shot. He has used that remarkably well here to deceive batters. First Raghav, Satish, and now Tarundeep, Paul, Gulam Mudassar taking strike. Last ball, one to win. Scores are level. Are we going to get a super over here? Here's Jitin Patel. Still waiting. Tiny field modifications being made by his skipper. He wants to get everything very right. Here he goes. Flighted. Gulam Mudassar. He strikes it nicely over the cover. In fact, it beats the mid-off fielder for a four, and that ends the game. Kingsman winning it at the end, but we are treated to such a fantastic game of cricket. A low scoring affair, and Tigers, they had so much against them when they had started this particular chase for the Kingsmen, but their bowlers made sure that they brought it to this stage, which is winning, which is the game being decided on the last ball of the match. So 107 finally from the Kingsmen, chasing that score of 103. And what a cricket match we've had for these two teams to close out their minor league division stage games. So looking at the scorecard, a couple of few 20s up there. Faraz Ali, 22 of 21. Raj Singh, 21 of 17. He obviously gave a lot of momentum, a couple of big sixes. Raghav Satish towards the end, when wickets started falling in a bit of a clump, he sort of came in and stitched together a partnership with Aryan Satish and took the score much closer to the end. But eventually, it was Aryan Satish who stuck it out, and Tarundeep Paul and Ghulam Mudassar playing some handy cameos towards the end to ensure the runs were made. In fact, Tarundeep Paul hitting a mighty six, and then Ghulam last ball when one was needed. That most importantly, the most important boundary that he scored to finish the game. For bowlers, oh well, take a bow. The spinners of Chicago Tigers. Karthik Gattapalli, 3 for 23 of 4. Yash Patel, 2 for 22 of 4. Jimit Patel, to me, he was one of the stars today. 2 for 12 of his two. He came into bowl in the last, say, 4 overs and last 3 overs, and almost changed the game. And the rest of the bowlers, Vinit Sina 1 for 19 of 3. Yash Patel, Garv Khera 1 for 17 of 2. And Ravinder Prasad, he went wicketless, 14 from his 2 overs. At the end, Chicago Kingsmen win their uh, win their last game. They finished with 16 points, well and truly on top of the pile for the Central Division. So they will obviously look forward to their next stage, stage eight, the Super 8. While Chicago Tigers, they had just 3 victories this season. But as I said many times, they are a young side. There's a lot of promise in there, and they will certainly take a lot of learnings from their outing this year, go back, work on it, and come back more mightier and stronger for the next one. For the moment, it was fun bringing this particular broadcast from the Tigers Park here in Chicago. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed a wonderful day's cricket. Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.